No, that's very interesting, and I want to kind of come back to that because there's this thing that I found very interesting, kind of. जस्तो हजुरको केसमा चाहिँ, and again it's a rare thing that I see is your LinkedIn title and what your passion project भन्ने कि something that you're very well known for are completely different things. And धेरै मान्छेको त्यो त्यस्तो balance भन्ने कि त्यस्तो खालको two parallel successful things and that are अलिकति separate पनि त्यस्तो हुँदैन है. So just want to explore a little bit on in terms of that. But we've heard about हजुरको professional accomplishments. Tell us about this passion project and how it has a life of its own.
Well, thank you, Preeti ji. Yeah, so it does appear a few kind of, I work in Diaspora, I work in development, and by training, I'm an architect, and then eventually got a PhD in urban planning. But if I had to professionally define myself, there will be basically three terminologies that I would use. So I'm a planner, but within planning is like a jack of all trades, right? It really suits my personality. You can do many things in planning. People come from design background, people come from engineering background, people come from economics background, anthropology, geography, sociology, a lot of things people come from. You're still a planner. And so that's my kind of training and profession is design and planning. So that's one. That's the kind of my day job most of the time. But I'm also international development professional for a long time. Within planning, within design, within energy, within environment, I worked on international development for a long time also. So that's why I traveled to so many countries. I worked in countries like Kenya or Tanzania or India or Fiji. Kenya alone, probably 5-6 visits, and I was training at the university. I was working with the government. Same thing with Fiji, and same thing with many other countries, including places like Abu Dhabi, including places like Mexico. I worked a lot with the World Bank. So a lot of work in Pakistan, a lot of work in even Thailand, Korea. So all of that, there's also a passion for me in development internationally. Anytime that I go to a new place, I see, hey, what are these guys doing? So then I went to Fiji and I saw that their per capita income is like $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 per capita per year. That's a pretty decent income. It's like a higher income country, right? And then I begin to see, well, it's a small country, less than 1 million people. What do they do? I try to talk to people and I make some observation and I compare. Of course, I've got a base of Nepal, right? And then I see, well, they have a very high upscale tourism. They sell their hotels from anywhere between $200 to $1,000. They've got world-class resorts. Lots of people come and spend a lot of money. And then, of course, they export. So tourism is a really big deal. And then they export really high-value products in terms of agriculture. They are not like a manufacturing economy. They're still agrarian. And by the way, there's something like 7,000 Nepalese who do a lot of these agriculture. They've been there like last 150 years in Fiji. And it was amazing for me to go to their village. And they still call you Daju, and they have kukuri and, all that. So then they have like things like papaya and mango and pineapple and some lychees, a lot of things that in developed countries, close to them is New Zealand and Australia and then of course America and so on, is very high value fruits. And so they make big money from those perspectives. Then even for such a small country, they've got 10 universities, 850,000 people in 10 universities. The University of South Pacific has something like 46,000 students. A lot of them are international students. Even they were Nepalese students. So I used to go and provide some lectures. And so there's, they've learned some of the things from the Australian counterparts that you can use your education as export to the people in their brain. So they've got a few things right out there. And then so they have a pretty good standard of living. It's an upper middle income country. And life is very good. And same thing. I began to going to places like Kenya since 2006. So when I was a student in Nepal, it was a lot of rote learning. So we used to learn about Africa as a dark continent, then about the diseases, about lots of problems, the kind of wild animals problems in terms of eating, manufacturing, and technology. And then so just one country I focused, 6 travels from 2006 to 2016 with the same group of people. Within that time, their per capita kind of went up by 75%. Okay. Still a lot of corruption, still a lot of problem, but no way that the way that I was thinking about Africa is entirely different. You go to this Nairobi, it's like Mumbai or downtown Phoenix. You go to Dar es Salaam, it's like some part of it is like downtown Phoenix. A lot of development and a lot of really orientation towards how they want to really increase the per capita income. So my second kind of identity is in international development, and I try to do that in Nepal also. And then my third is academia, right? I like to teach, I like to learn every time that I go to lecture. So even at University of Mexico, for example, when I used to go to Mexico, they used to invite me for talks. When I went to Chile, they used to invite me for talks. So all of these kinds of things that I've done. I've taught at Strathmore University in Kenya. So those 3 things sometimes I combine. So when you see things like diaspora in development, when you see how diaspora can really support development in their native countries. By the way, Africa has one of the really amazing work by the diaspora that you probably know it because you are in this field. Some of the countries are way advanced than even like us and India, or even Pakistan. They even have, some of them have even represented in the parliament in places like Senegal from the diaspora. So those 3 things are not too different for me. And just because in the urban planning, there's a lot of like social science, a little bit of economics, a little bit of sociology. So what you see in me is kind of jack of all trades, kind of a little multidisciplinary type of interest. It could be, when you look at it, it could be a little kind of confusing, but that's what I believe.
I think now that you've explained it, I think it makes sense. They're all connected in terms of physical interest and your, lived experiences across everything.